All right, hey guys, here we are. We are going to be doing a 9-hole guide for the Juniper Falls here. So let's take a look here. I'll typically need to play this pretty uphill, at least 25 yards, I would say. This may be pretty good. It may just come up short too. So you can see I have about 34 yards difference, but hopefully with the new loft of the Vulture, hopefully I can just sneak this in far enough. Looks good. Looks good. So anytime you're into the wind like that, you always want to be just a little bit hesitant. But you can see, the more that your clubs upgrade, the more loft that you have. So, a couple levels down, 34 may just barely get there. But, it gives you a good ballpark idea. Now, what I'm going to try to do here is a bit of a draw technique, about 96% or so. So it should come down just a little bit. So main thing we want to do is we got to make sure that we get 6 under. So we can stay fairly aggressive at times. I'm thinking something along the lines of this. You can see it's relatively flat, downhill just slightly. Into the wind, definitely won't need to use a backspin ball here. So I'm thinking something along the lines of, let's see, 10% less is probably not enough off. I'm thinking somewhere along the lines of maybe 88, 89%. Ah, 90 might have been the number. So just a little bit light there. And you can see we just roll this one in with ease though. So we'll get the green. We're still going to get a lot of points there. We got the green in regulation. We got the fairway drive. So we are going to go backspin here. Definitely club down. We could potentially, I think this is enough. I got to be honest with you. Downhill, downwind. Yeah, this is at least to the hole. I probably even have to take off of it. So if I want to try to get aggressive here, I can try to come in on this a little bit. Get something along the lines of that. Oh, so that, that's kind of the downside. As you can see, it just didn't make it. I probably should have just went full and not tried to get too cute with it, because I forfeited some points. As you can see, I only get 100 instead of 160-ish. So, I threw away about 60 points going for that. It's not going to be a deal breaker, unless I, for some reason just start to fall apart too many times. So that's why, I don't mind getting aggressive at certain times. Because as long as you don't get too aggressive and cost yourself too many times, well, you'll still be okay. So here you can see you can see how much downwind that actually plays, or downhill that actually plays, because I almost kind of ran through there, even with as much. So you got to make sure that you're taking off enough there and that you're being cautious. So here you can see this one's actually rolling way down, way down. So this gives you a different perspective than what you've been seeing me do. So this will typically play uphill. I'm going to probably need to essentially go all of this just to be on the safe side. So I can play a lot of wind now. So I'm going to just kind of send it over here a bit. But, as you can see, it's probably 9-ish yards uphill there. And so just to be, avoid doing something mental mistake, you want to be just a little aggressive. Now, I did pull that, so you got to be careful with your putts, because that would have been just a little bit farther. I wasn't going to make that one. But there you can see I did still catch the edge. And hopefully I can get this 3-wood here still. It looks like I can. So just enough. You may have to go, whatever your driver is. If it's like 260 something, you got to keep in mind that's probably going to clip the rough. You may even need to use a top spin ball there on that hole until you can get your clubs up. So here you can see we are going to play a significant amount of wind. I'm thinking somewhere over here. With the downslope, I'll typically use the backspin ball when it's tight on the front like this. And at least 15% less minimum. So I'm thinking somewhere around here, 83, 84. Let's just see what this looks like. So it should have went 85, 86 there. Eventually I'm going to probably start to get those a little bit more dialed in and actually like try to work some math behind things, but right now I've just been essentially going off a feel. You know, you can do a little bit of mental math. You know, 10% there is going to be about 12 yards on 120. So, you know, you can kind of do some of this math in your head, which is typically what I'll do. But you also got to keep in mind that, you know, where the 210 is giving me on this, it's to the run out distance. So I got to make sure that, you know, I'm factoring in the ball's going to land about at least 10 yards shorter, at least. So you got to always be thinking about things like that. So I am going to try to get just a little bit more aggressive here. Just a tiny bit. And you can see 98% barely crept over that. So, you know, not a lot of room for error there. You know, you can't short hit significantly on that. You got to think I'm taking off about 5 yards there. 97, 98%, that's at least 5 yards off on your carry. So you do got to start to be just a little bit careful when you're working through those. Now I'm going to try to hit it up the hill here to make sure that it does stay in the fairway. Sure enough, there it does. So there you can see what we got. And going for this green, probably not going to make it there no matter what. So one of the things that I'm thinking is just kind of shoot for the bunker. So I'm thinking about just doing some kind of no top spin. Ooh, that was interesting. So it actually did hit the bunker, but it actually skipped through it. So this really makes things interesting. You can see this is really going to get this. And with this uphill, you know, I'd be half tempted to almost go full here. You can see full is still on the green. So it's worth kind of making sure that you get up the hill and you don't wind up, you know, costing yourself. So another option you have there is like an all-terrain ball, because it'll re-give you the full value of the club, plus it'll create higher loft as well. But as you can see, I didn't need it, so I'd rather go that route because it's cheaper ball-wise. So what I just did was like the cheap route. So in the event that I can still do that, then that's what I'll do. Now here what I'm going to do, I'm going to go standard ball. Actually, we're going to go top spin ball, and we're going to shoot. Now this takes some decent amount of clubs to be able to get up there. But you can see that oh wow, so it wasn't even quite enough. I needed just a little bit more wind. So what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to scoot up through that rough and barely hold the fairway. I've done it a couple times, but it's a very touch and go drive. And as you can see, I'm going to be forfeiting some more points as a result of that mistake. I'm thinking underplaying this wind just slightly to kind of keep it to the safe part in case it's short. As you can see, it is short. I figured it was going to come up short, so I wanted to make sure that it wasn't over there in that rough. So those are the type of things that you want to be thinking about when you're going about shooting for yourselves. So there you can see, you know, we have, you know, an entire birdie card, which is going to give us plenty, even with the amount of mistakes we've made, you know, we're still going to have plenty for a 3-star reward for an expert campaign. So that's the reason that you see me, you know, play somewhat aggressive, try to get those great shots to happen or hole-in-ones. You know, you can play somewhat aggressive on this, so you don't have to play too much to the book, as much so as you would have to in the pro campaign. So you'll see that I'll do things just a little bit more risky because I don't care if it really, you know, gets messed up. But here you can see it's about 16 yards extra. This should be enough for sure. It might even be too much. So I was even half tempted to come off of this, but I also didn't want it to hit that mound. So if I hit that rock, I really put myself in a bind. So I'd rather just kind of make sure that it gets behind the hole, just to be, safer on those tight pins. But you can see, more than enough. We only needed 6. We only needed, oh, wow. So I'm only actually over by 6 points. I would have actually thought that I would have been well over, even with the mistakes that I made. Because I had so many 180, 200 point runs. But obviously, I took maybe just a couple more risks than I was actually paying attention to. So it was just a little bit tighter. However, you can see that I was able to get it up to that 3-star reward. If you want to increase that score, just don't take the risks that I did. Put it in the fairway. That's going to give you an extra 30 points every time. I missed probably 3 fairways. Same with the green and regulation. I'm giving up 50 every time that I don't get a green and regulation. So don't play to where it might hit the fringe, because you really need that 50-point boost. So keep that in mind. Good luck, and I'll see you guys next time.